Welcome to Living in Beauty. It's Sunday, December 15th, 2024, day 3072 on the road, and we are in Southern California. Henry Louis Gates Jr. calls Montgomery, Alabama, the epicenter of the civil rights movement. In his book, The Black Church, This Is Our Story, This Is Our Song. In 1955, Martin Luther King Jr. was the pastor of the Dexter Avenue Baptist Church in Montgomery when Rosa Parks, just on the street, refused to surrender her seat on the bus to a white passenger. Rosa Parks' bravery in response to the brutal murder of Emmett Till 3 months earlier activated the civil rights movement. With so much to learn and see in the Montgomery area, we easily filled 2 weeks with sightseeing, museums, restaurants, and lectures. Here we will share our visits to the Legacy Museum, National Memorial for Peace and Justice, Rosa Parks Museum, Freedom Rides Museum, Civil Rights Memorial and Center, Selma's Edmund Pettus Bridge, the Capitol Building, and the Tuskegee Airmen National Historic Site. Other than the Capitol, the Legacy Museum draws the most visitors to Montgomery. In 2018, this museum opened 2 separate sites, both hailed worldwide as architectural masterpieces. These museums combine art and facts to guide visitors through the hidden but undeniable history of slavery, abolition, the Civil War, Reconstruction, Jim Crow, civil rights, and the mass incarceration of Black people. You can leave this museum, but it will never leave you. The museum's website states, "On the site of a cotton warehouse where enslaved Black people were forced to labor in bondage, the Legacy Museum tells the story of slavery in America and its legacy through interactive media, first-person narratives, world-class art, and data-rich exhibits." Alabama is Carmen's birth state, where her family roots run deep in the beautiful red clay. Since our visit to Montgomery, we have a more clear-eyed view of the staggering price of racism and the social dysfunctions it perpetrates, from gender equality to the collapse of the middle class. This museum is like a difficult sermon we needed to hear, the evidence stacked convincingly and confrontationally, but never with anger. Like the sacraments, the ugly truth is exposed and laid out with loving hands, and there is healing in it. Life-size sculptures and images evoke empathy and often the need to turn away to explore the wall exhibits where even more powerful and shocking stories corner you with no place to run. This museum is an essential stop on the Civil Rights Trail. We were stunned by the artistry, architecture, and cinematic media that made our 4-hour visit feel like a journey, and us the better for it. Entrance to the Legacy Museum includes a visit to the National Memorial for Peace and Justice. This 6-acre outdoor memorial is dedicated to the legacy of Black Americans who were executed without legal representation by a mob acting under the pretense of serving justice. We took about 2 hours here to walk through the site and study the sculptures and engravings. We wish we'd scheduled more time. The purpose of lynching is to provoke terror. The names of the lynched men and women are engraved on more than 800 steel monuments, one for each county where a racial terror lynching took place. This memorial has documented nearly 6,500 racial terror lynchings between 1865 and 1950. The Rosa Parks Museum. We were the first generation to be taught the Rosa Parks story in grade school and how making good trouble can change the world. Utilizing a replica of the actual bus and a series of videos located in each bus window, the museum dramatically recreates the arrest of Rosa Parks on December 1st, 1955, as she refuses to surrender her seat in the dedicated colored section to a white man. 4 days later, Rosa Parks' refusal to obey Jim Crow law set off the famous Montgomery bus boycott, a one-year protest heralded as the first large-scale demonstration against racial segregation in the United States. The Rosa Parks Museum honors her role in the civil rights movement and her dedication and leadership in the decades that followed. The Freedom Rides Museum is located in the old Greyhound bus station. Here is where the Freedom Riders, 20 young college students, black and white, arrived on May 20th, 1961, to peacefully protest segregation by exchanging assigned black and white waiting areas. Well-schooled in the technique of nonviolence, they were as prepared as they could be when they stepped off the bus and were immediately attacked by an all-white mob. Many were beaten, some to unconsciousness, and wounded. A little more than a year later, the federal government declared no longer did African Americans have to sit separately or use separate waiting rooms in restaurants. While exploring the museum, we asked Dorothy Walker, the director, if she knew our San Diego friend, Taryn Gray, co-writer of the new hit musical, The Freedom Riders, nominated for a Grammy Award. Of course she knew him. Name-dropping is fun. Discussing the Freedom Riders watershed event, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. declared, "It was a psychological turning point in our whole struggle." The Civil Rights Memorial and Center is located in the middle of downtown Montgomery. The Civil Rights Memorial is a fountain in the form of an asymmetric inverted stone cone. A thin veil of water flows over the base of the cone, engraved with the 41 names of civil rights martyrs, including a quote from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Inside, the Wall of Justice displays names as they cascade down a room-sized screen in a simulation of the water flowing over King's words on the memorial outside. Each name was added by someone who has made a personal decision to work for justice in their own life. The 4 inside galleries focus on the martyrs' stories and a quiet space for prayer and reflection. 54 miles away from Montgomery, in Selma, a bridge crosses the Alabama River. It is named for Edmund Pettus, a former Confederate general and the Grand Dragon of the Alabama Ku Klux Klan. In 1965, the bridge became the site of 3 historic marches, and most notably, the horrible events on a march known as Bloody Sunday. On March 7, 1965, 600 unarmed voting rights advocates, led by John Lewis and Hosea Williams, marched peacefully across the bridge. A wall of state troopers wearing white helmets and wielding billy clubs stretch across Route 80 at the base of the span. The event was nationally televised by news media. Troopers used tear gas, clubs, whips and ropes, horses, and attack dogs to turn back the peaceful, unarmed demonstrators. As we walked over the bridge, we could sense the historical significance of good trouble walking towards bad trouble. The fear of expressing your power by holding your ground, knowing that your constitutional rights must be certified in order to transfer those rights to the next generation, one bloody step at a time. Freedom is not free. 18 days after Bloody Sunday, March 25, 1965, protesters marched 54 miles from Selma to downtown Montgomery. At the end of the march, a crowd of 25,000 gathered around the steps in front of the Capitol building as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. made his famous "How long, not long" speech. We wanted to feel those steps beneath our feet and imagine the excitement of that day when truth confronted power with unconditional love and unwavering purpose. While not directly associated with the civil rights movement, 40 miles from downtown Montgomery is the Tuskegee Airmen National Historic Site at Moton Field. The Tuskegee Airmen were the first black military unit of aviators in the United States Army Air Corps, a precursor to the U.S. Air Force. Trained at the Tuskegee Air Force Field in Alabama starting in 1941, they flew more than 15,000 individual sorties in Europe and North Africa during World War II. The museum offers the opportunity to hear their stories, some in the voices of the actual airmen who were still alive when the museum opened. Colonel Charles McGee stated in 2005, "They said we didn't have the intelligence, demeanor, the courage to be combat pilots. They learned different. All we needed was a chance and training." Their impressive performance earned them more than 150 distinguished flying crosses and helped encourage the eventual integration of the United States Armed Services. We'd be lying if we said we went on the Civil Rights Tour for the history alone. Even before we left California, we knew how this would go down. If you go to Montgomery, and we hope you do, eat with love and abandon. It's all part of the healing process. As children in the 60s, we watched these events on television, and over the years, it all became a blur. Montgomery helped us to sort out all the details and fill in the gaps in our memories. Each museum specializes in a specific area of the struggle for civil rights, and together they hold an epical human rights crisis in stasis, so visitors can examine the social value of intentional nonviolence. We were struck by the difference between the number of lives lost in the movement, 41, and the human toll of the Vietnam conflict, 2.5 million. If civil wars were measured in the least blood spilled and the most constructive political and social reforms, then the war for civil rights is certainly a success story for the ages. Though the Civil Rights Trail is about Black history and the struggle for basic human dignity, it is also a map to America's armory where the world's most potent and effective defender of democracy is kept, ready for action. People power. Thank you for joining us in Living in Beauty. If you like this post and want to be notified when a new one is released, please enter your email address and click the follow button at the bottom of this page. For more information, check out our travel maps and facts. Okay, that's it for now. Safe and happy travels until next time.